they're just getting so much more of the ball because of the matching up midfield, 5 against 5.
Wow, what a first half we've had. Darren Barr opened the scoring for Hearts. Scatchell made it 2. That looked like insurance. The arrears reduced thanks to James McPake. A fantastic first half. This was the opener from Barr, stabbing in from close range to give Hearts the lead. They looked comfortable at that stage. The former Falkirk skipper opening the scoring. It looked even more comfortable. Scatchell's deflected goal off James McPake made it 2-0. The Czech hero does what he does best, but then McPake making a bit of amends because it was his deflection it took it past Mark Brown, knocking it past Jimmy McDonald. That's what's made this interesting. James McPake hauling Hibernian back into it. It was a first half that flew by. The second half is not to be missed. Half time at the National Stadium is Hibernian 1, Harder Midlothian 2.
Well, it was 3-1 Hearts when these two last met in a Scottish Cup final back in 1896. It is 2-1 Hearts at half-time here at Hampden 116 years later. And, well, these Hibs fans right in front of us, right behind us in the studio, Craig, were desolate and disconsolate and probably contemplating heading homewards. That James McPake goal has just changed the complexion.
It certainly has, and that's what makes football such a wonderful game, doesn't it? Just when you think you're in trouble, as the Hibs supporters did, up pops James McPake and brings him right back into the game, and it will be a different half-time in both dressing rooms. Hearts going in winning 2-0 would have been a situation where the manager just needs to praise them, of course, for what they've done, and then after that just keep them on their toes and try and get an early goal in the second half. Now the momentum have shifted a little bit, and Pat Fenlon's team talk is that an awful lot easier than it would have been.
Although there's not much doubt about which has been the better team in the first half, Pat.
40 minutes by a long way, Hearts are the better team in just about every single department, including tactically. I think they'd absolutely win the tactical battle quite easily. 2-0, to be honest, I was like the rest of the Hibs fans down there. Couldn't see any way out of it at all. There was a lack of belief with the Hibs players that were, and Craig and I were both saying it during the first half, that they didn't look as if they had a plan. They were all over the place. But a couple of little changes near the end there, obviously substitution, made a little bit of a difference, but the goal, that's it. In the end, everyone's lifted in the Hibs team and there's a bit of belief back in themselves, and you can see everybody wants the ball again instead of hiding. So from what was a hopeless situation, there's certainly a real light for the Hibs fans and for the Hibs players.
Pat Fenlon will be pleased, Craig, that his team's back in the game, as you said. How concerned will he be that they're getting ravaged, or have been getting ravaged in the wide areas?
Yeah, I do believe that the system that he's playing, I mean, his two best players are his strikers, so he has to play them. So then after that, what he's done is he's played a very narrow midfield 4, almost like a diamond, and it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked, because what's happened when Hibs have got possession of the ball, immediately they're looking for a safe pass, and that safe pass, which Hearts have every time, is wide. So they haven't managed to get that. They've tried to force things. They've been very disjointed in the first half. Whereas Hearts, I mean Ian Black in particular, is just spraying the ball all over the pitch, changing the point of attack continually, getting Suzo and getting Driver on the ball. So they were. I think it was outthought in the first half. They've been outthought in the first half. It's interesting to see what happens in the second half. Sproul coming on gives width, natural width, and I think they've needed that desperately.
You did tell us, Pat, pre-match that organised chaos at set pieces from Hearts might reap rewards, and it certainly did early on.
It was incredible how almost precisely like what we were chatting about beforehand, the bunching together of the Hearts players there, the fact that they've got a lot of power and height there, the delivery's pretty good as well in a dangerous sort of area, but it's a second phase play and they'll chase everything. There's a great willingness within that group. There is mayhem in there, but they play for it. It's good play. It's not a fluke. They play for it.
But you can argue that's good play, Pat, but at any defence, you cannot lose 2 headers in your own box. You know what I mean? You're asking for trouble. Then the third one, even when they do get it, just drops to a Hearts player. So, I mean, you've got to defend better than this. Hearts win the first header, they win the second header. That clearance doesn't even go 5 yards. And you're asking for trouble with balls dropping in that penalty box.
But the thing is, you try and get an organised, structured, organised defence. You can't get that when the players running everywhere. But you're right, you've got a man to mark. Go and win your ball, go and win it. And they didn't win it, and that's why I talk about the desire you've got for those, like from Zalewskis, from Webster, from Barr, they have got the desire to go and win that. And the pinball then happens within the defence when the ball's in there. And that's hard to kind of organise your team for, because the ball's going in, it can drop absolutely anywhere. And by the way, there was a moment that Kajabi should have been out. He found himself
he was too deep. The rest of the team actually moved up outside the 6-yard box, and he was ball watching, and he got caught. But basic defending, win your header. You know, and then you see there, if you don't win your header, you're asking for trouble.
But again, one of the things I said right at the start, height and distance. When you win the header, make sure you get it out of that danger area. And it's been a problem for Hibs all along. And once again, they had a couple of opportunities there, just didn't get it out.
Darren Barr's first goal for Hearts couldn't have come on a bigger stage, could it? Hibs haven't been taken by surprise. They can't claim that. We saw the organised chaos for goal number 1, and Rudy Scatchell's ability to find pockets of space, which we spoke about pre-match. You give him this sort of room, he's liable to do this sort of damage.
Yeah, this was the first real I consider it to be reasonable passing sequence from Hearts. They got on the ball, they kept it, well, obviously they lose it there, but I think they get it back very quickly.
High up the pitch as well.
Yeah, they want it back up the pitch. There's like 2 or 3 short passes. Scatchell makes that movement in between the lines. You see him just at the edge of the box there. He's unmarked. Now you can't
great
leave.
Cruyff this is a great
that's great play by Black, but you cannot leave Scatchell in the box. We've seen so many times when he gets into that penalty box how accurate he is with his shooting, and I think this is poor defending. Good play by Ian Black, and I think this is poor defending.
But it's again at pre-match we're talking about don't give Scatchell space. Now we can all see it. We were talking about it before the game, and he doesn't need a lot of space, but that's far too much space. And the way Hibs had set up beforehand, they wanted Claros to be the sitting midfielder to kill the space that Scatchell wants to play in.
That must have been a big part of Hibs' pre-match discussion. Obviously, on top of what they were going to do themselves, that was the most important thing. But what's a danger in the Hearts team? Rudy Scatchell. That's a 17th goal of the season.
We spoke beforehand. You know, their ability at set pieces. Well, they get a goal for a set piece, and Scatchell's ability to pick up good positions, you know, just in front of that defence. Well, they get the 2 goals for exactly the things that I said beforehand. You know, Hibs won't need any warning about what Hearts do at set pieces, and they won't need any warning about Rudy Scatchell. And yet, you know, I think Hibs are a lucky team to be back in the game at this point. I do believe that, because Hearts have been the better side, deservedly in front. There's other chances as well that they had, but that lifeline could be crucial for Hibs.
Maybe lucky to be back in the game, but it does change the whole complexion. This goal 4 minutes before half-time.
Well, intriguingly, we were chatting, what have Hibs not been doing? They've not been getting wide. Craig said his first line there when we come back after half-time, Hibs never got wide. No, they didn't get wide until now. They get the ball wide in this sort of area. And again, it's something we talked about before the game. Where's Hearts' weakness? Actually, they get plenty of players behind the ball. They get plenty of players in decent positions, but they're not that good at defending from balls in this area. Having said that, it's the hardest area to defend.
Yeah, but also what happens there as well, Pat, is that Zalewskis makes a decision to leave that front post area and go out and confront the ball. Well, if you can't get out to the ball to stop the cross, there's no point in going. And that area there, that's where Zalewskis should have been, just at the corner of the 6-yard box. He's made a decision to go, he could never get there, and it actually encourages the pass. So that, again, maybe it's just me being hyper-critical, but it's poor defending.
But they have plenty of defenders back there. It's once again what Hearts, I look at them all the time, there's great willingness to get back there. They'll get the numbers back there. But are you touch tight? Are you getting close enough to make sure? No, actually, he didn't do that. Zalewskis goes out and doesn't get it. I agree with you. There still were plenty of guys in there.
But see, the thing is that he's left the position that always must be filled for a cross, and that is the one that stops the low cross. You know, you must have somebody to stop the low cross. He was in the position to stop the low cross, and he made a movement to go out to the ball, and it leaves a hole. There's no time to react. And that's where the ball has gone. I mean, it's a fantastic ball into the box, and you must credit James McPake with following the ball. I think it was a dummy by Gary O'Connor, I think, and he's followed the flight of the ball. And, you know, all credit to him. It changes the complexion of the game, and it makes the second half much more interesting.
It's also the goal that's brought this lot behind us back to life. That's significant as well, because suddenly they're making a noise again. But Hibs have to play better second half. They'll be well aware of that, because every time Hearts get a set piece, there is chaos.
Again, and I do like what they do, because they run in all sorts of different directions. The delivery is good as well into the worst area there. And you know, how do you go and mark that? Because you have to go and mark the first ball. It's bombing in towards the goalkeeper there. And there are just so many bodies. If you're fortunate and it happens to drop down there, then you get shot and goal. By the way, I thought this was great play up the line. Again, this is something you were mentioning Driver before.
Yeah, I was hoping Driver would, he's been struggling to come back from this injury. He's been getting gradually week by week, but I'm starting to see him come back to his best. And this is good old-fashioned wing play, down the line, and a great ball into the box. And in all honesty, Suso Santana should have scored there. I mean, it was great defending from James McPake. He's covered the area that his goalkeeper can't cover.
He's having some effect in the game, McPake, isn't he? I mean, scoring the goal there. Actually, forget that. He's having some effect in Hibs' season. I mean, he's had a brilliant season. He's held the defence together when they've rocked all over the place. Kajabi, in particular, is having a difficult afternoon in that left-back area. But he scored the goal. He saved the goal. I think McPake already in this game has saved Hibs twice already. He may have to do more.
What Hibs do have is a goal threat if they can get the ball up there and provide ammunition for O'Connor and Griffiths. And this was one that you expected Gary O'Connor to put away, wasn't it?
I think this is a hard chance, Rob. It's the first time that Hibs have got wide in the game, but this has bounced just before him, and the ball bouncing just before you. It's really difficult on the spin to keep the ball down. It's pulled back, he pulls off his man, and it bounces just before him, and you can see that he's caught it probably just half up his shin. Yeah.
I just think with his technique.
Yeah, it is famously the hardest one, a ball just slightly rising off the half volley. But I mean, as the game goes on, there's the odd little half chance. But let's be fair about it. That Hearts have been a lot better. Hearts have been a lot more dangerous. These are only the odd chances that Hibs have had during this first half. Really, the vast majority of the play, the vast majority of the chances, all the danger, it's been happening right down there in front of us. The question is, will Hearts have the belief to think, well, wait a minute, we had that game win then. Is it gone again? Will we be fearful again? 2-0, we always say it's a dangerous score, don't you? 2-0 up because there's nothing to lose.
It's a dangerous score, but I don't think Hibs can be any worse than they were. Yeah. I might be wrong with it, but I don't think they can be any worse than they've been in the first half. Hearts played quite well in the first half. So the momentum shifts towards Hibs for me because they haven't played particularly well and they've got a lifeline.
Tactical change as well. They have now got a little bit of width and a little bit of pace, which we've noted right from the start as their problem at the start of the game. Now they've changed that, so well done to Pat Fenley. It didn't go well at the start. You lost the tactical battle at the start, but boy, you've had to change it, and you changed it before half-time, which is good.
How lucky was Ian Black not to see a card of some description for this?
Was this the header that came out from the box? Yeah, if we slow it down, we'll have a look at it again. Yeah, he's led with his elbow, and you know something, Rob? I think because it was set early in the game, he's got away with it.
He's got away with that. And 90% of games, other than the Scottish Cup final, that's yellow. Another 10% is red.
Yeah, I think if Craig Thompson had that camera angle.
Yeah, that's the point I'm trying to make. It's early in the match. I think he wants to keep the game from boiling over. Yeah. Ian, to be fair, he's been committed and going for the ball, and there's nothing wrong with that. But once you lead with your elbow, you're asking for trouble.
And the thing is,
he's a bit fortunate to get away with
that. He's controlled the rest of the game, and there's a couple of times he's been wound up with players, and he hasn't wound up. But it's so dangerous to do that. It was a bad hit.
Do you expect Hibs to get right back into this game, having got the late first half goal?
Have they got the belief? Now, the way that they've changed it now, I don't think they can have anyone sitting deep as a midfielder, which means Scatchell's got, it's party time for Rudy Scatchell. He's going to go onto the ball. You've got Beattie to come on yet, and already causing Hibs all sorts of problems. I don't know what Hibs can do to stop the danger from the crosses, from the long throws, from the corner kicks. I still think Hearts are so far favourites, but hey, shot to nothing, Hibs, have a go for it.
We've talked plenty. Let's sum up the story of the first half of this William Hill Scottish Cup final. Drama from the opening moments, and Darren Barr with his first goal for Hearts, putting his team in front. That was the Gary O'Connor chance, which might just have got Hibs back on level terms, almost inevitably. Rudy Scatchell with his 17th goal of the season made it 2-0, and James McPake has breathed life into Hibs just ahead of half-time with a goal which makes it 2-1 halfway through. Back for the second half with Billy Dodds and Liam McLeod.
Yeah, let's hope the second half lives up to the first, because it is a lot to live up to. Drama all over the place. No changes in the Hibernian side at half-time. Ivan Spurl, of course, came on for Jorge Claros during the first half, just after Hibs scored, in fact, towards the end of the opening period. There will be no changes for Hearts either, who are making their way back onto the park just now. And those Hibs fans will be in better spirits than they were 5 minutes before half-time, when James McPake, having scooped one off the line not too long before, went up the other end and brought Hibernian back into the Scottish Cup final. Andy Webster, who lifted the cup a couple of years ago when he was at Dundee United, he skippered them to the Scottish Cup. That win over Ross County. Well, Hibs have won 9 of the 30 Scottish Cup meetings and have lost the last 3 against Hearts.